Hey besties, I have not posted on YouTube in like 3 years. And what took me out of retirement is this video from Wallace. And I'm sorry if I'm not looking at the camera, which I know is over here, but like I'm on my phone. So D'Angelo Wallace made a video, and sometimes I think of D'Angelo as my younger sibling in my head, but parasocial relationships aside, like this video really like hit home for me, and I feel like this is D'Angelo is talking about a subject that I've contemplated on as an adult, and I feel like I've found like an answer or a solution to this. D'Angelo's video is called "Does Anyone Feel Like They'll Never Be Happy?" And one of the phrases, like one of the things that D'Angelo said that I really wanted to talk about is that idea that I'll never possess the happiness I thought I would have when I was a kid. I posted a TikTok video that pretty much says this same thing, but TikTok is like nuking like my visibility in the algorithm because I have one popular video that is completely unrelated to everything on my page. And so yeah, like you can never see any of the shit that I post. So I'm posting it here in hopes that it'll reach more people and maybe people who need to hear this as somebody who again like has been through it. I'm going to get to the point in a second, but to provide more context for myself, I was in therapy camp, which is just a partial hospitalization program, PHP, for from December of 2023 to June 2024. So that's like 7 months. Then before that, I was in PHP at the same facility from February to June of 2023. So, needless to say, the facility birthed a baby. I have like college level of experience with therapy at this point. That is not to discount the other therapy that I've been going to pretty much my whole life because I have had mental illness my whole life. So just that. I'm going to try to not come off preachy or like super advicey and ranty. Just like this is like my experience. These are things that I've learned, that I process with group and in therapy and stuff like that, that I wanted to share because I feel like this could be helpful to other people. I may get a little sciencey at the end. Like I said, I've been through a lot of therapy, but also I did study psychology at one point, but I'm not a therapist. So therapists in the building, feel free to correct me. Anyways, getting back into it, like I said, D'Angelo says that they are aware of the fact that they'll never possess the happiness they thought that they would have when they were a child. I would like to say that in society, we have been conditioned that happiness is this goal that we need to achieve. And I want to say that happiness is a feeling, and the feeling is transient. So attaining lifelong or prolonged happiness is not a realistic or attainable goal. Happiness is the same as being mad, being sad, angry, whatever, the feelings wheel. These are on the spectrum of human emotions, and at any given point, you can be feeling one or both or multiple of these things, and you will pass through it, and you can go to the next thing. So, like, let's lock in on that idea. Happiness is a transient feeling, it is not a state of being, it is a feeling. In addition, just to go into the sciencey part of things, as somebody who has BPD, I would like to also add that prolonged periods of happiness are actually just not healthy. I'm sorry if you see me pulling things up on my chin. I have like body dysmorphia as well. So like I'm very self-conscious about my chin. Please don't say anything. So prolonged feelings of happiness tend to lead to euphoria. And prolonged euphoria leads to mania in most cases. So I don't even think that attaining like long periods of happiness is healthy. As somebody again who has BPD and goes through bouts of mania, my brain, and this could just be BPD specific, but like other people have related to this as well in groups, is that like once I get happy, if I try to like go for like prolonged periods of happiness, I have to find things that keep making me happy, that keep that feeling alive, because again, it is a feeling and it is transient. So I have to keep finding happiness things. So that's not even healthy. Now that I've identified like that happiness is a feeling and it's transient, let's actually talk about like states of being that are attainable. So we had a lesson where it was like what makes us successful, and I'm going to say functional because I don't think success is something that we should be identifying with necessarily. I feel like using terms of success and unsuccess is like not necessarily good, especially when dealing with mental health. So I'm going to say functional. In terms of finding like being a functional person, I feel like the ability to move through and process and feel different feelings and then come back to a baseline is very important. Establishing the baseline is getting into states of being that are attainable. And I'm going to explain what those are. Sorry, I kind of like messed up my point, but so I identified this is something again that other people in my group identified with, but there are 3 states of being that lead you to being a more functional adult. First thing is feeling safe. That is a state of being that you can have prolonged, and it is more easily, it's like very attainable. For me right now, I live with my mom. My mom and me do not have the best relationship, and so like getting a lock on my door, very important. It makes me feel very safe. Moving out will make me feel even more safe. So these are, again, that's an attainable thing, is number 1, being safe. Number 2, another thing that is very attainable is to have peace and contentment. That is, now if you come from a trauma like background, your background is full of traumas like mine, being safe and finding peace are like very like co-related. But there are other ways that you can find peace. Like every single week, I know that when I get paid on Wednesday, and because I get paid weekly, and also on Saturday, on my rot day, I will eat out. Those are 2 things that I do every single week. And it brings me a sense of peace because it's a routine and it's something I can look forward to. In addition to that, I mentioned rot day. On Saturday, I do nothing. I just lay in bed and I rot. And it brings me peace because I know that I'm not going to burn myself out every single week, like trying to do stuff on the weekend and It just like, it makes my brain feel good. My sister has her 2 dogs. When she comes home, the first thing she does is hug her dogs. And that brings her peace. It makes her just feel like, oh, I can finally let go of the day. And that's kind of what you want to be looking for when you're like, how can I make my routine more peaceful and bring myself more peace? And then, like, the last thing, the last of the 3 states of being that I feel like make up this thing that we call happiness is feeling loved. Now, this is a harder thing to attain. That's why it's not the first one. That's why it's not the second one. Because you can feel safe, you can feel peace, and still be having issues with feeling loved and loving yourself. And again, like I said, feeling loved, loving yourself, it can be an internal feeling of love. It can be an external feeling of love. Like being loved is about the love that you take in and accept for yourself. Feeling loved by yourself is something that looks different for every person. For me, I have taken a lot of loving steps to make sure that I set boundaries in my life. I had like the worst boundaries in the world, and every day I make more boundaries. I reclaim my time. I don't share feelings with people who don't deserve my feelings, things like that. So like that's the idea. Yes, it would be good to have like external feelings of love. My sister loves me, so I feel loved when I'm with her, and therefore I spend more time with her. My friends make me feel loved and appreciated, so I spend time with them. But if you're in a place where you're not feeling that, like, we can work on us, and that's what we can control. I can't control if other people love me out there and I feel loved by them, but I can control how I feel here. Also, I would like to say, encompassing with that feeling loved, this is one thing that my mom said that I take very seriously, is to go where you're loved. And if, like I said, being in this house sometimes not necessarily makes me feel loved, I need to leave. There are certain, like, jobs that I had, I was not appreciated. I need to go find somewhere else to go. Like, those are, again, if you have met somebody and they have said, I feel so happy nowadays. I'm so happy. And, you know, like when people, like they get married and they're just like, I'm so happy. And they just feel so much happiness and joy because of, you know, like the situation and stuff like that. I promise you that what they're feeling is the combination of safety, peace, and being loved. That's what that feeling is. So what we get told that we're looking for in happiness is just like smiling faces, but like that's not real. Also, I would like to say that a lot of our time as people is spent in like a neutral mood. Like, we're just neutral. I go to work, I don't feel good or bad. I just am at work. Like, there's nothing happening up there. You're in traffic, maybe somebody cuts you off, maybe somebody doesn't, but if nothing happens during that time, what are you feeling? There's no feeling that goes with that. You're just doing something. But in that neutral state, like, you can still feel safe, loved, and at peace. So those are, again, that's like a baseline. All of this to say, I hope for D'Angelo and other people who are relating to this video that at some point that you feel safe with yourself and that you find peace. Because once I found peace and found peace in my routine and found things like that, I felt so much better as a person. Like, I know better is again subjective, but I like the release that I felt once I was like, okay, I have a job and I have job security. My job needs me. They appreciate me. Like, this is good. I feel safe. I can save money. I feel safe. I'm making plans to move out. I feel safe. Once I got safe down and I was able to work towards like adding peaceful activities to my routine, I just feel like a whole new person. And with that peace, I'm also able to find places where people are showing me that I'm loved and I didn't recognize it before because I felt unsafe because I was like not at peace. And like it just, I feel like it's like a cycle that keeps giving. Like, once I feel safe, then I feel at peace. Once I feel at peace, then I can feel the loved. Once I feel loved, then I feel safe and like it's all commingled together. Another thing that I want to share that I talked about in my TikTok video was just this idea that like I don't even feel like happiness could be a baseline emotion, just because if you have mental illness, there are so many other baseline emotions that you already have that are okay to be at. Like, we have this thing, it's called SUDS in DBT, and it's a subjective unit of distress. And you, depending on your situation, can have any amount of just regular stress that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Yes, it would be nice to have your SUDS level be at 0, to have no stress, but it's not realistic to be at 0. Realistic is like a 1 or a 2. Also, if you go to therapy a lot, you know that you have a baseline, especially if you have like GAD, generalized anxiety and depression. You have a baseline level of anxiety, you have a baseline level of depression. And the things that you work towards in therapy is either lowering the baseline if it's too high or dealing with the times where your levels spike up. My levels are typically like 2 and 3 for all these things. And I feel peace and safe and loved at a 2 and a 3. I'm not bad at being unstressed. That's just the level of stress that I am. I'm just naturally a 2. But yeah, I this is I'm getting like not mixed up, but I hope that this makes sense. I'm gonna wrap this up because maybe the more I'm talking, the less it's making sense. But all of this to say that D'Angelo, people who are relating to D'Angelo's story, you are not, number one, you're not wrong for looking for happiness. My first YouTube channel, its name literally means chasing happiness in Korean. So like I'm here with you. We're locked in. People in general are not wrong to idealize happiness because that's what we're told to idealize. I'm not saying like don't strive for happiness. I'm not even saying that like don't get your depression treated and stuff like that. If you like, just a disclaimer, if you guys are depressed and you're seeing this, if you've gone through a very big bout of depression and you feel like nothing is working, I've had friends who had good results from like ketamine treatments and ketamine drips. Like, don't do those weird little ketamine things that people advertise on Facebook. Don't do that shit. Go with the doctor and like get some legit shit. Okay, don't do poppers and shit. But yeah, if you've tried therapy and therapy is not working for you to get your depression under control, you've tried medication and like mood stabilizers and shit like that, and that's not helping you. Also, just be careful with medications because sometimes different medications have different formulations. And I was on an extended release depression medication, and that shit had me asleep. So if you feel like a zombie at the moment, tried different medications. Like I want to say that there's like light at the end of the tunnel for depression treatment, because I know for me, like once I switched medication, light bulbs went off. I have seen friends who have been so fucking miserable and they got their ketamine treatments and like they're glowing now. But again, that glow is not because they're happy. That glow is because they're at peace and they're safe and they feel better about themselves. But yeah, I'm not going to delete what I've already recorded. I don't even remember at this point what I've said. I again hope this made sense. I really appreciate you guys for watching. If anybody ever sees this, this could just be in the ether, and I could just be one of those like found YouTube channels in like 20 years where they're like, this girl kept posted on YouTube and nobody fucking watched her videos. I just want to say, I wish everybody peace and safety and stuff like that. That's so important these days, and there are so many different threats to your safety and your peace, and just like, I just wish the best for everybody. I hope everybody finds the treatment that they need, and I hope that if you were feeling discouraged, that maybe this video was just a tiny bit helpful and it made a little bit of sense. I'm gonna stop ranting. It's like 5 a.m. and I need to like do a manic cleanup because like I've been delaying cleaning up my room, and I also need to take my meds. Long and short, I need to get the fuck out of here. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe I'll post again. Bye-bye. Also, real fast, I just want to say that I'm proud of everybody for making it here to this day, to this moment, to this video. I know personally I have dealt with a lot of things. I didn't think I was going to make it to 21, and I'm 30 years old. And I just want to say, like, whatever the reason is that you're making it every single day. For me, it's my sister and my cat. I'm proud of you. And let that be the ending thought. Okay, bye. I'm wishing everybody peace, love, happiness, and not happiness, but like the things that we talked about. And just like, let's make it till tomorrow.